Thought we'd have a packed house since it's talks of budget.
I can send you an email, but would you,
So we're back to
I
what
would
we did
like to,
last year.
Kind of disappoints me a little bit.
whenever they're approved of the code enforcement.
They probably won't be approved until the next,
That's probably right.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll ask again then.
unless you just.
I'm just very curious what's going on there, yeah.
I think we're gonna do
there
the
wasn't
tour,
really
we're gonna do the
much.
tour next month.
Yeah,
Okay.
honestly, nothing, there was no action or anything that was taken.
No, I'm just trying to keep tabs on it, because it's, I feel like
Right,
that's
we really
that's a
only-
top priority for the
We
city.
really only got through what you saw in those boards.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was
Okay,
it.
that was great, okay.
Yeah, yeah, so there
Cool.
really wasn't.
I just talked to someone today, they said, oh, the tour, that'd be great. Let's do a tour, they just do that next, I'm like, okay. When we went to Memphis, somebody did that, and Kenny's giving a different perspective before they start looking at the ordinance. So,
Pine Lawn?
We gotta be on the minutes,
No, I thought-
if
was that from-
possible, if I could just be on the correspondence.
Yeah, did I?
Like, you might have, I don't remember, you probably did.
I think it was
You
Pine
probably
Lawn.
did.
Because I was just like, no one told me what.
Dion.
yeah,
Because I'm like, it's considered.
matter of fact, I got it on my
Probably
phone
did,
somewhere.
so.
but
No,
I-
you're good.
I need her
Yeah,
number.
I don't have a phone, I had to
I,
ask Terry.
one of the other boards have.
They were just, she just sent the email.
That one, right?
That one,
She
that's
was
that's
like
one that I was
asking
like, you should be.
for our homework.
Yeah,
I don't know if I want to come.
Right, 'cause
You know it's due in 2 days.
You guys
I
want
haven't been looking, I don't have time to look
I
for
mean, it
him.
might
I could be a
actually,
special
it might
guest.
actually be.
I think we're doing
helpful,
it, but-
you know, if you do, you know,
Bobby has reached out to us.
Well, I don't want everyone to spin their wheels really hard on some idea that I then just say, oh, can do that, you know, like that'd be.
Yeah, just keep me updated, because I know, I guess,
I don't even, I don't know what day they picked. Did they pick a date, another day?
I have to talk to
You
you.
know that day I went down there and the other lady went down there too? I was like, the mayor, I was like, I drove down all the way down there, I didn't even see it until like 30 minutes before. Well, they sent it 30 minutes before we were supposed to meet, and I was already sitting there at the doggone
Scavenged it,
restaurant.
so if someone would call City Hall
I
and
think
their lid was
been
bad,
in that place
they
one
would just go
time.
grab a lid and
It's all right.
deliver it to whoever would call. So that's why there's some that's, not in one piece.
So 1, 2,
Okay,
3, 4.
they want to do it Friday the 1st.
That's,
Well, the good news is they're not getting thrown
Yeah,
out
one.
like they recycle.
When you go back to
agree.
school?
At least that.
I agree
August
there.
4th. When do you, hey, did I tell you, Julian, that I met with the superintendent for Ferguson Forest? And he said they did not have summer school.
Yeah, I think you mentioned that.
Yeah, I was like,
You a teacher too?
No,
no,
my
he said
friend,
somebody was asking him.
you know, I was in Ferguson, Florida, and I have a friend who's a teacher. And she told me they was on the verge of cutting the music program. And they got like some
yeah,
funding.
it's money.
Yeah.
They
Yeah, he
closed,
was like, it was a, well, he just started,
Oh, we ready to start?
oh, am I over? He started like maybe the day I met him, I think. And then he was like, yeah, that was a decision that was made before. But I was like, oh my God, that's horrible.
They closed one of the STEM schools too.
They did.
the STEM middle, but they
What about the high
also,
school?
I think they're gonna still, the high school still.
right down in Ferguson, where you used to go down and sign your kids up. They closed that, they moved that 2 weeks ago to Dunn Road. And they told me, because I was there today,
Okay, it's 5:30.
they're gonna save $1.5 million a year by closing that building. There's not a soul in it.
Yeah, they're all conditioning to the high school, middle, eight through 12.
Yes.
That's horrible.
Is that your gavel?
Roll call, please.
Councilman Sachsenhammer,
Here,
Councilwoman Cleveland.
Here.
Councilman Evans, Councilman Washington, Councilman Roberts,
Here.
Councilwoman Foray, Councilwoman Baye,
Here,
Councilwoman Shivers.
I see her.
Councilwoman Shivers, you're still muted.
I see her, I don't hear her.
Yeah, she's muted.
She said she was.
here,
She's here.
Do you have a? I haven't.
Oh, okay. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
You make a motion?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
aye.
Ayes have it. Old business, discussion of rental properties. I think the council person who wanted to talk about it is not here. Yeah, okay, so we'll move on to number 2, discussion of city communication systems.
I thought that was at the bottom of the agenda. I would rather wait until we have a city administrator because that person may know something about what I'm talking about. So let's defer that one.
We need a motion.
I move that we
Wait,
postpone the discussion.
before you say your motion, I just wanted to, I sent out an email about communications. It wasn't about city communications, but it was just about like, overall, just communicating with your ward and, some of the things that I've done in the past. So, and all of those things, I just want, they are free. The Google Voice, a ward-specific newsletter, but you would have to pay for that yourself. You could do it, you could actually make one and then have it as a Google Sites page, and you can Google how to do that, or I can help you if you need some help with that. I've done that before. You can also, like Facebook, Nextdoor, if you have one that's more specific for you, those are all free things that we can use to get communications out with people that live in our wards. So, that's all I want to say about that. So please just refer back to that email. I mean, you can do as much or as little as you want, and everything, so.
Yeah, I've done all of those things, but what I was referring to is citywide communication when I brought this issue up.
Yeah, so I'm just saying everybody doesn't have one, and what I'm saying is when it comes to citywide communication, even those little things, when you talk about being a ward person, those little things that we do to reach out to people in our ward is under the umbrella of city communication because we're all working to get the communication out to our citizens. So those are things that we can do individually to make sure that we're communicating with everybody as a whole. You can go ahead with your motion.
I move that we postpone the discussion of citywide communication systems until the appointment of a city administrator.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
What I missed? I guess I missed it.
You have your packet? You missed your rental properties discussion. 5:30, like every Thursday. 5:30.
It's 5:35.
So do you wanna talk about it, or you wanna?
Go ahead.
Okay. Wanna talk about it? Go ahead, you got the floor.
It's about the audit.
That's mine. You can
Oh,
take it.
no, Miss Karen, you can have it. It's
Okay.
fine.
Is it two of them? Take it. No, I give her mine.
Does he need one?
Oh,
You got it.
okay, well,
Okay, Forest rental properties. It's been a problem for a minute for us. Forest of properties that are not being maintained by the landlords or by the tenants. I don't know if we need stricter code enforcement to handle this issue, or do we need occupancy permits updating to identify what the issues are as far as these occupancy permits? 'Cause I know a lot of occupancies or houses don't have updated permits. So I don't know if we need to change the ordinances or change the rules where we have a time limit on these occupancy permits to maybe every 3 years or every 4 years. People need to update
By
it
ward or something?
by ward, that'd be great, by ward. Or by the whole city, however we wanna do it, we'll come up with a plan where these occupancy permits could be updated on a regular basis. Because
I think we need clerical help too. Someone's got to be clerical to put those in. I don't think we have that. I don't know about the support that they would have to update it.
I think if we come up with this system we were talking about just a second ago, that we can encompass
What system?
with a new
The communication.
communication system.
Oh, well, that wasn't do you mean with Vicky? I was just talking about just people doing like their own Facebook, like Ward Facebook or
Right.
next door stuff. She was talking about like as a city, like
Citywide,
how we.
right, and I agree with that.
Yeah, Tony, can I speak to that since you mentioned my name?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so what I've been talking about is making sure that our housing database is up to date. One of the ways, the easiest ways, is to download data from the county website and see how ownership has changed in any specific property. There's physical files as well, and that's where the occupancy permit information is held. I am not sure, and Kiana may be able to answer this for us. Is the information on occupancy permits stored electronically anywhere, or is it just on paper?
It's also stored electronically.
Okay, so it would be possible then to use some sort of digital way of updating our system. I don't know the last time I asked about how often the database was updated from the county. I really didn't get a clear answer on that. But that's what.
So I think we're in the process of getting that accomplished.
Okay.
We reached out to the software company, and I've spoken with Marty about it, whether or not we would like that refresh. Evidently, it is included in our software, maintenance program. So,
Okay.
yes, it just takes a little time and making sure that other staff members who use that system are aware that that refresh is coming. And asking the right questions and just making sure that any of the data that we have collected so far won't be affected by the refresh.
Yeah, you don't want to do an override on the data that you already have. It might be a matter of putting the new data. You have to tell them exactly what you want to do with each field. So if you're just looking at the ownership and the occupancy stuff, you might get a report generated. You have to ask your software people, and I don't know who they are, but they can make a report of where the data has changed. And then somebody obviously has to go and look at it and decide to import the other data. They usually put what the new data is what's called a suspend file. And so you can look at that and then decide what you want to import. But I think, again, this discussion and how we go about doing this is part of the overall discussion about code enforcement and communications. And I think that a new city administrator might have some insights that they want to lend to that conversation.
I agree. And I know Cyrus mentioned some software that he was.
Yeah. Because when data is there, and there's some other systems that can do things like automated non-touching permits and so forth. But you got to know where you are before you start to do anything. So an assessment of where we are with data has to be looked at, how it's used, where it's stored, what systems that we use, and then look at the best possible solutions for constant updates on that. And I don't think that you have to have a data person. You just got to train people on how to use the system.
Okay.
So how would we update? Did I say something?
He was about to say something.
Go ahead.
So how would we update? I know in Ward 1, like, we have issues with people just moving in, like we have one now, they just moved in and didn't come to City Hall. So is there something that, and I know we probably could talk about it later, how will we update those annually, or do we have, I'm looking at, we need staff to actually do that annually, but how do we do that to make sure that these people who are in these houses are supposed to be there? Because right now, we've got like 3 or 4 houses right now that we know they shouldn't be in those houses, and they haven't been here. So, and the code
I would suggest that you tell code enforcement about it.
We do.
And And so that they will go check and tell people what the requirements are. We,
Yeah, but I'm talking about for future, so if we're talking about updating an ordinance or updating something, that we gotta figure out like who's gonna be able to do it, like update each one of these people, because, right now we got people in houses that've been there for a long, like I've been there for over 30 years. I got some people on there don't live with me anymore, so they're on there, so how are we going to update these people who've been in these houses for a long time?
The things that,
well, when Glen Echo joined the city of Normandy, there was a process of sending out information to everybody and updating the occupancy permits. I think one of the things that we have to look at is, what do we want, the data or do we want money from fines? If you know that people are living in houses without occupancy permits, that is a code violation, and you can ticket them for that. So it's a matter of doing it and figuring out the best way to do those things.
I think the issue I mean, first of all, we have a issue where we only have one person doing it for 5,000 residents. So I think that's the first thing, and the budget's gonna work that out within itself. We knew that 3 years ago, when that person was hired, that we would have to have another individual doing it. We haven't done that yet. So that's clearly a hole in the system already. The other thing is, we require that people are supposed to have trash service, right? And we know people who pay and we know people who don't pay. And so even if you have the county's database, how up to date can it really be if it's, like people are moving in and moving out and things like that. And then we also talked about, like, I think somebody brought up like using the utility bills, like trying to get that data from like Ameren or Spire to see who. So I think it's gonna be like a combination of like cross-referencing what we have and everything. It's not gonna be one, I don't think it's gonna be one approach. I think it's gonna be, does this person have trash service? Whose name is on it? Let's say that the person's not paying the trash. That's the person that gets you need to have an occupancy permit and you don't have one, right? And ticketing. And then also, if you know someone is moving in or moving out and they're in your area on your street, you need to advise people to come in. It's not gonna be one quick fix. It's gonna be a bunch of things that we need to do to make sure that we stay on top of it, including the other discussion that we had was every year having those properties that are rentals inspected, which I think is a really good idea. I just had somebody move out on my street who lived there for 14 years, and I went into her house and it was unbelievable the amount of mold that was there. And she never said anything to me, and I said, why didn't you tell me? I've been your council person like since 2018, and she was like, or since 2020, and she was like, oh well, I just was too busy, and I thought about it, and then and people do get busy and everything, but it really made, I was like, because there was something that I could have done in between, but sometimes people don't say anything, and landlords are allowed to just continue on. Now, I'm glad that she did tell me, because I said, okay, now I'm going to have code enforcement come in because you're still on the lease and everything. And this is the other thing, that this is the hole in the system that we're going to have to think about. When I asked her when is her lease up, she told me that it's a month to month. Okay, so then if it's a month to month lease, then there is no time to change. There is no date because it's a month to month thing. So that's a loophole that we're gonna have to figure out like how to fix. And so then I was like, okay, I'm gonna tell the code enforcement. That person came in, we took pictures, we took videos, and everything, and I told her to do the same thing. And then the other thing that I told her too was, I was like, I will give you the number to an attorney that I think can help you. And when I talked to the attorney said that they could they would look to see if that person owned additional properties in,
Right.
and then they would let me know, because that's probably not the only, I know he owned two on our street. One he sold, he's not gonna fix her house. He's gonna slap a for sale sign on it and then give it to the next person or whatever. He's done with it and everything. But when we have people that are habitual, just like really bad landlords, it doesn't just affect us, it also affects other communities and everything like that. Like, that's information that we could possibly also share with other communities and say like, hey, we can't get in touch with this landlord. Have you had any, talking to like other attorneys in the city, have you had any, you know, success with this and everything? So I think it's gonna be more than just one approach, but the first thing that we need to do, we need another code enforcement person.
Right.
We cannot, that one person cannot do this one job for 5,000 residents. It is an impossible task, and the fact that this person has just made it work is me a testament to their work ethic and everything. So it's not just gonna be one thing.
Just to piggyback on what Karen said, just last night, I go to the store, I'm back in 10 minutes. 8:15, there's a U-Haul. I watch back in the driveway, and they're unloading everything. 8:15, right as it's getting dark. And there's people there to date with 2 cars. Okay, I sent an email for them to check it out, and maybe they're perfectly legal. My point is this, the only way you're gonna teach a landlord not to let anyone come in when they want to instead of following city rules, they need to be cited if the renters are cited for going in there without a permit.
Absolutely.
The owners need to be taught also.
Right.
So that's all I'm saying, because just last night, I mean, who moves in after dark?
After dark, you're not supposed to, against the law, right?
It's against
Right,
the
it's
ordinance.
against the ordinance.
To move in after dark,
Yeah.
What is the time?
Well, you've got,
I'd have to double check
you've
that.
got several problems there. Let's take his case. He made the complaint, went to the county database, shows Marty Carpenter owns the property. Call Marty Carpenter up, I sold the property 3 months ago, sold it 90 days ago, I haven't owned the property in 3 months. County base doesn't get updated instantly, so the county database was wrong. And so you go back and talk to the tenant, and he rented from, I'm just gonna make it up, but the last part of it was LLC Section 8. What's
Yeah.
the matter?
Oh, my God.
Out of San Diego, California,
Yeah.
okay? Obviously, the code inspector will be over at that house tomorrow morning, telling them they can't live there. They don't leave, they'll get ticketed, or we need to get an address for their landlord, because we don't have that address. The county inspector doesn't, the county is not updated. The other part that you got, as Vicky says, you're gonna get it updates at some point in time. It may take 60 days or 90, but the county database is gonna get updated. Your occupancy permit is not gonna get updated unless some person comes in and gets one, or somebody tells them. That's the purpose of having an inspection every so often. It doesn't matter. Maybe the same person living there, maybe somebody new living there. But the occupancy permit's a different issue. And if you look at U City, if you look at Maplewood, they inspect properties that are rental properties once a year or every 2 years. That way, 2 things happen. If occupancy has changed and the city hasn't caught it, it gets updated.
Yeah.
Number 2 is, it's amazing how many times you go in and inspect a property that passed a year ago or 2 years ago, and it's a hellhole when you walk in it. You wouldn't know that, just like the mayor said, that person lived there 14 years. Nobody knew what that house looked like on the inside. So, occupancy permits, you can control in terms of property owners, in terms of buying property, but if that property owner does not notify the tenant, they have to get an occupancy permit, and even that person may not do it because they don't have the $50 to pay for it. Somebody's gotta notify the city that somebody's moving in so they can get on it. Otherwise, they're never gonna know unless they're a bad actor and the police get called or something. So you got 2 issues there. You got property ownership you got occupancy permit, and you gotta have a timeline to keep up with occupancy permits.
So do we have anything on the books now for that? Do we have say rental property inspection?
I don't think it's called rental.
So right now, we have we have our general occupancy permit ordinance, but the occupancy permit ordinance currently provides that the inspection only has to occur when there's a change in ownership or an occupancy, right? So if someone lives in the rental unit for 14 years, that occupancy permit is good for the entire 14 years.
Yeah.
So, I have put together in the past a draft ordinance that would amend the occupancy permit code to require, an annual, or what could be an annual inspection, could be a biannual, however, the city decides that they want to do it, but every term of years, right, every unit in the city has to get inspected, right?
Every house.
No, every rental, every rental.
Okay.
We need something for rentals, but we also need something for long-term tenants like us. Because like you said, 30 years, haven't updated your occupancy. I haven't updated mine either.
Right.
So maybe we need something for long-term ownership as well.
I mean, if that's something that the council wants to do, again, you do have to think about resources and kind of where you're putting your attention, and where are you running into the code enforcement issues, right? Is it with people who are living in their home for 30 years? Certainly sometimes, but is it usually, right? I think with code enforcement especially, there is an element of you try something and see what works. Like if we're gonna not act until we have figured out the perfect solution that's gonna solve all of our problems, then we're never gonna get anything done, right? So there's an element of let's find one thing, let's try it, see if it improves, and then if it doesn't, we go back to the drawing board. If it does, great, and now we can move on to the next problem.
So how about, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I was gonna say, so how about we start with a draft ordinance for a 1 year,
I was gonna say something like that.
1 year,
Annual inspection for rental property.
Here's a question.
so how will we,
Can we say rental property? I thought
Can
you
we-
said once before we can't say.
Yeah, you can.
No, what I said is we cannot, a city cannot just outright ban rental properties,
Right,
right?
okay.
That could be a fair housing
That's what
issue,
you said,
right?
yeah.
But I think there's a reasonable basis to say that, listen, we are running into, we should be able to quantify it, and I think we can, right? But, if most of our code enforcement complaints are related to rental properties, then, requiring, and I think that makes sense just in terms of how often occupancy is changing on rental properties, right? It is a frequent issue, so it makes sense that we would have more inspections and want to take that issue up.
so if we start
Yeah,
with this 1 year, we want rental properties to be inspected in 1 year, right? Every rental property. I have to think about the flip side of it, who's gonna be doing it?
That's what I'm asking.
Who's gonna be?
How many rental properties do we have?
Huh?
How many
Yeah, how
rental
many do
properties
you
do we
have and who's gonna do it? And then if we start off with a draft ordinance of, okay, this one person is gonna do it, is that a reasonable request? Because what I don't want to do is set somebody up for failure. So that, I don't think I don't want to institute something, I don't want us to institute something that is really just unreasonable for one person to do. Now, clearly, we can have it, and we could say 1 year or 2 years or whatever, but then we also have to think about the first place, I will continue to say this, is where we need to start, is we need another code enforcement person.
Well, the alternative to getting
Julian
another,
was about to talk, no, go ahead.
No, that was my biggest question. Who does it now? Who does the inspections?
That one person.
Code enforcement also
Yeah.
does inspections.
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
yeah, there are companies that will do this for a flat fee. I think the last Glen Echo did it for a while. They will do it whatever. So if you wanted to do a program of annual inspections of rental properties only, there are companies that will come and do that for you. And they just do the basic inspections for safety, and that's what we want. I mean, and any obvious external things, but within the house, you want to make sure that the heating system is safe, that the electrical systems are safe, so we're not having people die in houses. And there are companies that we can look at who do that, and they charge less. Okay, again, paying for it becomes an issue. So in those cases, if a landlord knows, and we have to notify people about what's going on, if the landlord knows that we're going to be inspecting the property once a year and they have to pay for it, then whatever they have to pay, I mean, that we pay this, the hired person, we can charge administrative fees over the cost that they're going to charge us to help do some of the work. So let's say this company, the last time I talked to them, which was probably 4 years ago, they were charging $75 a house for an inspection, an occupancy inspection. And they will provide all the information all the way up to the court if you want them to. But then if you charge whatever we charge, which is more than $150, more than 75, then if you charge that difference to those folks, then the city can cover its cost and perhaps help to pay for some of this stuff. So, you know, it's not going to be, we don't want to drive the budget into the red for things, but we want to be able to get some things done.
We know how many rental properties we have in Norman?
I
For
do
the
not know off
city
the top of my
and
head.
by ward?
No, I do not know off the top of my head.
How can we get that information?
Do we have a list? I don't know off the top of my head. The list of like the
Rental
number of rental
properties.
properties.
Rental
I'm sure.
properties we have.
I mean, we'd have to probably just go through occupancy permits.
I would think,
but that's-
then how would you verify? Like, so let's say I have my house. Let's say I decide to leave and I rent my house out, right? And I rent it to my friend because I like her. She keeps a nice house, right? And then I tell her, girl, don't worry about a lease.
Right.
Just pay me. That's technically a rental property. But then how would the city know?
They wouldn't.
So it's like, you're kind of you're getting the information that somebody's willing to give you. Does that make sense? Unless somebody would call, like Steve said, I saw a U-Haul pulling out, Yolanda moved out and this other lady moved in, right? And then he calls the city and he says, Yolanda doesn't live there anymore, I don't think, and everything, and then the person comes over and says like, no, do you have an occupancy permit? So it's like, the information is gonna only be as good as the person is willing to
See,
give.
that's the issue, though.
Yeah.
We need to find out.
Well, the county database does say whether the owner lives in the house, or at least they get their bills at the house, because that's not the same thing. But it does give you some sense. There are other municipalities in the 24-1 that will require occupancy permits when they know that somebody's in there, and they require both the owner or an owner rep and the person to come in to fill out the occupancy permit.
So I would say if we go by the trash bill, that's probably like the best indicator.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't pay the trash bill.
Well, you
Or
still,
don't get
you
trash
get the
service.
bill, you have to have a trash, you have to have trash service.
It's an ordinance saying.
Now,
we
whether
have
you
to have
pay the
trash
bill or
service.
not,
Yes.
yes. But whether you pay the bill or not is on you, but the names are on a list. We get that page
Okay.
yeah.
So that should
That's
tell us-
probably the most up to date
Right. That
to
should
know
tell us
who's responsible for what.
Right, who lives in that property.
I'm not saying they live there, but it tells you who's
Who's paying the
responsible.
Right.
Yeah, because I wouldn't want a trash bill coming in my name for a house that I didn't own, like in Creve Coeur. I'm not paying that bill, right? It's a mistake and everything. I'm not gonna pay it, but I think the trash bill is like our best indicator as to like who the responsible party is.
Right, because the people next door to me, their landlord is actually paying their sewer and their trash bill.
Yeah.
But how do we use that to determine a rental property?
Well, you wouldn't, but you would be able to say like, if we cross-reference it, like like what Vicky said, if we had like the list from the St. Louis County and then that person wasn't on the trash bill, he'd be like,
Okay, I
it
get
don't
what you're
match
saying.
up.
We're gonna cross
And everything,
the
like
county
utilities are
database.
usually the best
Right,
indicator of
okay.
like who's responsible.
I think as an initial resource, Rick and probably the PD might have a pretty good sense
Yeah.
of which houses are
Properties,
gonna be
yeah.
rentals and which ones are not, and so we're not just starting from scratch, but
And
maybe.
Rick gets that list
Right.
often from Waste Management
Right.
about who, he has a whole list of like who has paid and who has not paid and people that are responsible for trash service. So that's something that he can't get from Waste Management. Like,
Is it possible for us to have the code guy come to our meetings?
It's overtime.
to do what?
Thank you very much.
We can have,
Can Rick come to?
can Rick come to a meeting and ask questions? What I would prefer is if you want to have a conversation with Rick, and I've done this with Rick before, like to have Marty there to like sit down, not because like to just make an appointment. What I don't want it to turn into is like Rick is sitting here being berated, like, you know what I mean? I don't want it to turn into that, because there's a difference between like asking him questions about the process, and then people are like, you're not doing what you're supposed to do, blah, 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 and everything like that. So like, and I had certain questions that I wanted answered, like, how long does it take for somebody to do this? How, and the questions that I asked him were like, what are the, what was it? I was like, what are the biggest issues that you have? And he's like, it's not tall grass or anything like that. I think the biggest issues, I asked him for like the top 5 things that he gets,
Complaints.
what did I say, complaints? Yeah, the problem. He said, paying for trash, that's the biggest problem. Open storage, which we started to talk about at, which is why I was on the subcommittee. Painting and trim and missing siding. And bushes, for overgrowth in bushes. So, and he was like, tall grass was like bottom of the list and everything. But those are the top 5 things. And I will say that the other thing I said, well, how does the process work when people are ticketed and everything? And sometimes it is up to the discretion, because people also, just because you see somebody, and I thought about this and I was like, that's true. Just because you see somebody with siding on the side of their house that's messed up, doesn't mean that that person hasn't turned it into their insurance company and the insurance company has been responsive, right? He's like, sometimes people work with the insurance company and they don't get the check, right? If they don't get the check, they can't do the job, they can't pay the contractor, and then it sits. So sometimes it has to be up to the code enforcement person's discretion as to like, how much am I gonna push this person? If this person is, and I would think that that's a reasonable thing to do. If it looks like somebody is actually going through the process and they're actually trying to like rectify the situation. Yes, there was a tornado, the siding on my house got blown off and everything. I turned it into my insurance company and it's been 3 weeks and they haven't gotten back to me. Well, think about it. Well, everybody had something going on, right? And then, yeah, you're probably gonna be behind the 8 ball when it comes to that. Do we go through and like, we don't care, this is your ticket, we don't care, you need to come to court, you know, and everything. So you do have to take that into consideration too, when, and I think he does when he does that, but we also have to think about, there's one person doing this job, and I'm gonna keep coming back to, there's one person for 5,000 residents doing this job, and I want my McDonald's yesterday, right? I called, somebody needs to do it right now. And sometimes it just doesn't work like that. Like the process just has to go through the way that it does. And sometimes people need time, you know, and everything. That's just what it is. I mean,
I understand some issues, I mean, things need time, but a house sitting dilapidated for over a year and a half, 2 years, that's way more than enough time.
yeah. I will say that is true. Yeah. I mean, I have a house.
I mean, I can see people, we working with people trying, because, you know, times are hard, people trying to get the things corrected. Okay, as long as they're willing and working with us to get it done, that's fine. But I've seen houses sit for years and nothing's been done.
But
You know,
that
so-
may not be the inspector's problem. It may be, but it may be not. He may have cited them 10 times. and nothing happens in court because the guy doesn't show up in court and he never gets arrested.
Okay, so then what we do about that? Something has to be done. I mean, just to let the house just sit there because the owner wants to show up to court?
Well, so after that, once the owner isn't showing up to court, then the city's option is really to pursue some sort of abatement proceeding, right? If it's a nuisance, right?
So what's an abatement proceeding?
So that is where the city actually has a hearing before our building commissioner, who is also our
Kiara.
city clerk. City presents evidence, the building commissioner decides whether or not, you know, the property is in violation of the city's nuisance code. And if it is, then an order is issued for them to, the property owner that is, to clean up the property in 30 days. If they don't, then the city can get an administrative search warrant from the municipal judge and actually go onto the property, clean it up, fix whatever the issue is, and then file a tax bill against the property. And we have done that a handful of times since I've been the city attorney. I under 10, but several times. I mean, periodically we will do this. We've done it for dead trees. We've done it for junked vehicles. There's a handful of these that we've done.
And Andy, as you recall, the two houses that we're due to tear down in Glen Echo, we
Yes.
got those kinds of abatement orders, and we went to circuit court with both of those. They both got judgments. The owners still haven't done anything. The issue is some municipalities might have the money to be able to go in and throw on a roof and then tax the property. But I don't think we're in that position. So
I agree. It depends on the extent of the issue. You're absolutely right.
Are you talking about the two properties in Ward 4 on Henderson, or is it St. Andrews?
No, St. Andrews. Yeah, both of those. We went through this process.
Those are full on demolitions, and that's a bit of a different animal, right?
Well, they weren't at the time. They might not have been full demolitions at the time that we asked people to fix them up. But over time, if you go 6 or 7 years with a hole in your roof, the property's going to deteriorate. So the longer it takes you to do something, the more likely is that you're going to have a tear down.
And then the other problem with that, like the two properties in Ward 4, it's ours now, right? We're tearing them down, it's ours, and we just lost tax money.
Well, you weren't getting tax money. I mean, some of them may have been there.
What you don't want is to basically taking people's homes like that, and then you end up with no homes at all, right? Because then you got another problem. That's right. We have this piece of land where nothing can happen on it. I mean, where nothing is happening on it. I mean, in an ideal world.
Still belongs to that person?
Yeah. At what?
Yeah, you always want compliance before you.
No. Then it's our.
There's no question.
No, if there's a dangerous building, let's say there's a dangerous building or even a regular nuisance. No, we're not taking the property.
No. I'm saying like those properties that are now they're torn down. You can't put, it's our problem now. You can't, there's nothing, there's nothing there,
But
right?
is the land Normandy's now?
So-
I think there have been a couple of instances where we have torn down buildings,
Yeah.
and then they're empty lots,
They're empty
right?
lots and there's nothing there. And
And-
so like, we have to think about like, what do we do with an empty lot? Like, what
Sure.
do we do?
As I said, it's the empty
Yeah.
lot now, Normandy.
Yeah, so what do
Okay.
we?
Correct. It's
And
not
we've
Normandy's lot.
we've
It's
had
just an
those
empty
empty
lot in
lots. How many,
Normandy, right.
how many
Okay.
did we sell like last year or the year before? Well, it was like
Empty lot?
4?
Something like that.
Well,
I
the
mean,
only way that
And they were-
it becomes the property of the city is that you lien the property that you tear down for the amount of the tear down. So if it costs you 20 grand to tear down a house, because those people still legally own the land, even if the house is gone. So you have to lien the property when you tear it down, and then go to the courts and say, hey, we paid this, it's not worth that. There's another legal process involved with getting it to the city's ownership.
Well, that's a separate
What's the
Right.
issue.
And
Yeah.
that's a different cost legally also.
Correct.
Like, so Andy does not go and do that for free.
Oh, he doesn't?
No.
Well, yeah, Andy likes to pay his bills. Andy likes to eat. So, well, if we also have to think, if we're going through this process, that's an additional cost legally that the city is incurring, and then,
And the abatement proceedings,
Yeah.
like let's just stick with the nuisance. Let's stick in the realm of
Yeah.
something that's simpler. Like if somebody's
Right.
got, a bunch of junk in their yard, right? And we want to clean it up, right? That is a cost, right? I have to prep for it. There's a hearing. However, we have pretty well gotten that down to a science, right? So I mean, those aren't a particularly expensive proceeding.
but it ain't free.
But it's not free, and they do
Yeah.
add up.
Yeah.
I
But
do
I
what
think,
can,
I think what we
but-
need to start off with is what is the biggest issue, and this is what I hear everybody saying. I think everybody's saying that the biggest issue is the occupancy permit, right? And we need to figure out, like, if that's the biggest issue, how do we want to address it? And I think where we start is with the trash bills. You know, but we only have one person.
So we need to do something about that then.
We have
We need
one.
to start there.
We have one person who does the job, and so don't come to this meeting to the second Tuesday in August. Yolanda, where's the list? Don't do that. Do not do that. So if we are not going to bite the bullet and look at the budget and try to find another person to do this job, it is going to take time to implement things.
Right.
So let's just be realistic about
Well, I think
that.
in my opinion, that's a priority,
Yes.
major priority.
It's either that or you could possibly contract for a year or two until we could put something else through here in place. So if you wanted to implement it, just like Andy said, to kind of see how it goes, we could possibly do that with a contractor to come in and we could bill the owners if we needed to do it. Versus if we didn't have the money at all for a person to hire ourselves. So there is an alternative. It's not necessarily what I want, but that is an alternative.
I agree, Steve.
So what would you guys like to happen? You want to get prices for outsourcing it? I like how Steve just said it.
I'd hate to be negative, but I don't think you need to make it a dollars and cents decision until you see your budget.
I think we do need to get an idea of like how much it would cost though, before.
I don't disagree there.
Yeah, I think we need an idea of how much it would cost, since we are in the budget time. We need, because if we're gonna go with, hey, maybe we should outsource like Vicky said, is it still $75 a house, right? And then what do you get with $75 a house? And then what's the process that goes along with $75 a house? Is it cheaper to like hire another person to do it? Do we do half and half? Well, how, like we.
Well, you'd have them, you wouldn't necessarily have them do everything. You would have them, you would say, oh, maybe they just do the occupancy inspections, or maybe they just do the external code violation stuff.
That's what I'm saying. We need to get an idea of what services are offered and at what costs.
Got
So
it.
we still need to have an idea for it. And so if we're gonna go through our options, we need to have
Right.
an idea of what
Everything costs.
I would look at St. Louis County as well, just to see what they might offer. Even if they're not gonna do occupancy inspections, if they did some other code enforcement activity that then freed up our existing code enforcement officer to refocus on like, that's another option too. It doesn't necessarily, and I think that's what you were getting at, Yolanda, is it just doesn't have to be, let's look at somebody who can do occupancy permit. There's a lot of kind of ways.
Councilwoman Valle, who
get
was
there.
the company you were talking about? Do you remember the
I
name?
have to go back through my emails or ask Treva if she still got the records. That would be in our financial records that's somewhere over there. I think they're out in the trailer. But I can look through old emails and see. The problem is that I don't have access to the old Glen Echo emails because that whole service and system is gone. So.
And there was another company when Karen and I went on the schema code enforcement, where I think I mentioned it before, they do, what do you call, what do they do?
I think that this was a company that had initials like C something.
They do AI, like you put a camera on the car and then they like take pictures of the property. It's like an AI program that you could buy and use and everything. But still, I'll go back to this, even if software, if you can have as much software as you want, who's gonna man it, right? And you're still talking about, like, I don't know how that software works, so I don't know if the software is like, they take the pictures and then they go through our ordinances and then if that's like an option or whatever, or you buy the software and the camera and then your person is driving around taking the pictures and then they have to disseminate what is good or what is not. But I mean, if we want to get an idea now, I think now is a good time since we're going through the budget to like, these are our options and this is what our options will cost us.
I think it's gonna be, well, I'll speak for Ward 1. We have a lot of renters, and it's a big ward. And that's gonna eat up a lot of budget, because if you're talking about all the renters, that's a lot of money.
For what?
If whatever we're talking about, we wanna do, if it's
For a
75
person or $75 a house or
per house.
per house?
We got a lot of renters, so.
But the owner paid for that.
If the owners, we can tag the owners for doing it.
Yeah, the owners will pay for the inspection.
So, so we're gonna make them pay for an inspection that we require?
Yes.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
We can do that?
Yeah, we can, absolutely, a service that the city is providing, we can charge a fee for that.
Oh, my.
Okay. Okay, I like that then. I was thinking more of our budget and not,
No.
There's still a, one person to do however many inspections issue, right? But,
Right.
but it's not like, the city is allowed to recoup its costs through a fee structure,
okay,
its actual
well, I'm
costs.
happy about that then. I just thought it was gonna eat up our budget, like, we got a lot of renters, you're talking about $75 per home.
No, that's what the inspector charges. You charge 150.
Right, we double.
Well, our fees need to be commensurate with our actual expenditures, or else we run into Hancock issues.
I
so-
just leased an apartment and my inspection cost $120. And it was paid by me, not by the landlord.
But you're just leasing it now, but we have people already, renters or in these homes now. This what we're talking about, right?
Sure,
But
it's the same thing.
every time, if you're gonna implement it every year or every 2 years,
Oh,
whatever,
you have
to pay
you would have to pay the
$120.
fee, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, oh, okay, cool, I'm down.
Right, so if the estimated costs to the city, I mean, we do this when we outsource our plan review, right? So if there's some sort of major construction going on, Kiana's not reviewing the engineering plans, Marty's not reviewing the engineering plans. We're hiring Weiss Design Group to do that, and
Okay.
the applicant has to pay that cost, right?
Oh.
That's the cost. The cost of the fee of the permit review is the cost of the city's payment to Weiss Design.
But we're going to send letters to all of these landlords about inspections annually? Is that what we're doing?
That's the plan right now.
Well, first,
Whenever we change the ordinance and put something into effect that would require this, yeah, we would then go to notify, and the letters would be the easiest way to do that.
You definitely need to do an initial notification to everybody saying, hey, there's a new ordinance, like
Yeah.
all of your occupancy permits need to be renewed. But in the future then, that would just be part of the occupancy permit application,
Yeah.
right? So landlord comes in and says, hey, I need an occupancy permit for 123 Winchelsea, right? And then that would be on the permit, right? Expires, blah, 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 you must,
Oh, I like that.
yeah,
Okay.
you must obtain a reinspection within however many days of its expiration, things like that,
So
right?
now we need a database that can ding someone, said, okay, so this is October of
Then we would know,
2027.
then we would know that, yeah, correct.
Okay, and these folks right here need, okay, I like that.
And one other thing I would consider, there's pros and cons to this, but right now, the landlord, the property owner, or the tenant can be the one to come apply for the occupancy permit. A lot of landlords, especially, the out-of-town landlords, like to make their tenants do it, right? But if you make the landlord do it, if you don't allow the tenant to actually apply for the occupancy permit, now you're interacting with a real human being. And one of the issues we often run into is you can charge an LLC based out of San Diego, California, but they're never gonna come to court. But for property maintenance violations specifically, Missouri law does hold that in addition to the actual owner, the LLC, the actual individual who is in charge of managing the property can be charged individually. So now if we have an individual human being who is representing themselves as the manager of that property, right, insofar as they're arranging the occupancy of that property, now we have a real human being that we can send a ticket to, right? Now, the con of that might be you then have tenants who are showing up trying to get an occupancy permit, and what are we supposed to tell them? No, you need to leave town because we can't, you cannot, we gotta kind of think about the balance there, but that's just another idea of really how to make sure we're holding, property owners' feet to the fire, and it's really a matter of getting an idea of who's actually operating these rental properties, so, and are responsible. Yeah.
If you require annual, biannual inspections, first of all, the property owner is having to pay a fee. And if he or she's a slum landlord, they're not gonna like that. And number two, they gotta maintain their property.
Right.
And maintain the property costs money. And if you're a slum landlord, you're gonna sell your property and somebody else is gonna come in that will be an improvement. You'll be amazed what happens when people have to spend money on their property to be able to rent it. Makes a huge difference.
Yes. I have seen this work in other communities, right? Like this, even just this change, I think, and there's some upfront issues that we have to address, like, resources and who we're gonna find to handle these occupancy, identifying rental properties. But it's a small change. Well, it's not really a small change practically, but it's a small change to the ordinance. But it does make a big difference.
Yeah, we need to start somewhere. And I think that's a perfect spot to start.
Yes.
For us, it needs occupancy permits. I can't even say occupancy for some reason.
This is Councilwoman Shivers. How are the parents or guardians getting the students in school without an occupancy permit? That's mandatory.
Ferguson Florissant will not accept an occupancy permit anymore as of this year.
But, okay, I know that's 26, 27, but what's been going on prior to then? It's been mandatory.
It was utility bills, and you have to get, I had to show proof of ownership, but as of today, they will not even look at an occupancy permit. Ferguson Florissant, as of today.
Normandy still requires them.
Yeah, Ferguson Florissant will not even look.
And remember, everybody that goes to Normandy Schools Collaborative does not live in Normandy.
Right.
Correct.
So that's also, they come from other communities too.
Right, but I'm just saying though, they need an occupancy permit. I know just about everybody that works in all of these schools. So an occupancy permit is required for the students along with the shot records and everything else. I just can't see how they're getting by without an occupancy permit unless it's a fraudulent one.
People have been coming in and obtaining the occupancy permit. We expect it between June and August, so every year.
For the kids to get on the occupancy permit?
Oh, no, just they, I believe Normandy School District requires that it has to be in 2025 or that year. If you're enrolling in that year, the occupancy permit has to have that year on it.
Okay.
So oftentimes the people come in and we have to reprint one, even
Every
if
year
there's
you gotta
been
get
no
it.
change to the occupancy permit, they still need a new copy with it.
Thank God for school districts.
Yeah, they,
Just remember, we're two different school districts. Normandy's on this side and
Ferguson
And actually,
Florissant.
I did have a conversation with someone, is it McClure High School?
yes, that's Ferguson Florissant.
Someone called me, an administrator from that school, and to verify an occupancy permit, and Yeah, they're still accepting occupancy permits right now, so far, at least the high school is.
Was it McClure Berkeley South or McClure?
It might be the
It had to be
South,
McClure
that's a
versus
STEAM
South.
school.
Well, the caller ID is in Ferguson,
Oh,
Florissant School
okay.
District, so whichever high school that is.
It's the one in Cool Valley.
Okay.
So that's where
Uh,
we wanna start with that.
this is what I have for next steps. Get cost estimates for a person, outsourcing from a company in St. Louis County. And then I have amending the code to have revisions for fees for the owner to pay for the inspection, and inspections done every year. For rental properties.
Bless you.
I can, Yolanda, I can look into some more resources of people that do that through a private sector through the Catholic Archdiocese, if you would like me to do that. If not, I'll just step back and let you guys handle it. But
Do inspections? You mean do inspections?
correct.
Uh-huh. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah, the more options we have, the better. There's no harm in having more options.
Okay.
I have one comment. The one operation you do not want to hire to do your housing inspections, code enforcement, is St. Louis County.
Yes. They're pretty backed up.
I've heard that too.
Yeah, they're not real good either.
The things that I've heard, these are the things that I heard that too, but it was they come in and they don't have a good track record of like communicating that they're in your community, they're doing the inspection, and it's kind of like you just get a bill.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I've
They're
heard.
like, oh, we missed you. I'm like, I didn't know you were coming.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
still send me a bill?
They send the city a bill,
Oh.
so they'll just be like, yeah, here go your bill, we did it. Yeah, but they don't say like, hey, they're not gonna call code enforcement and say, hey, by the way, we're gonna be in your community to inspect these 4 homes on this day, and, like, will you meet us at and everything. When we're done, it's like, I've heard people say, like, other community leaders say it's not the best process. So, that's what we got. Is everybody good with that?
Yes.
Can you run that by me again? I didn't catch all that.
Estimate the cost for hire a code enforcement person,
Okay.
outsourcing St. Louis County, property, revising the code so that owners will pay the fee for inspection and the yearly inspections for rental properties.
Cool.
New business, approval of liquor license renewal applications. We have Jump City, St. Anne's Men's Club, United Mart BP, and Wayland's Restaurant. And this is just the yearly renewal application that they have every year. We have to go through. So I would need a motion to just renew these applications.
Make a motion.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed?
Aye.
Ayes have it. When did you get on?
That's Mr. Tony.
Scared
Tony, you
everybody.
gotta turn your camera on.
I've been on for the last 20 minutes.
I'm watching you, buddy.
Right.
I'm gonna slap you with a tariff.
Who's that deep voice?
I was like, who is that? Number 2, resolution 25-35. A resolution of the city of Normandy, Missouri, authorizing the city administrator to enter into an agreement with Wise Design Group for the revised scope of work related to the Natural Bridge Median Improvement Projects. So this was
Mayor, I just wanted to point out that there is a correction that needs to be made.
Oh, what?
The resolution number on the agenda is incorrect. The resolution number on the actual resolution itself is correct.
Should be 2533.
I apologize.
533. Resolution 25-33. A resolution of the City of Normandy authorizing the city administrator to enter into an agreement with Wise Design Group for the revised scope of work related to the Natural Bridge Median Improvement Project. So if you recall, one of the things that I told everyone is that the cost, because nobody works for free, to redesign, there was gonna be a cost, I didn't know how much it was gonna be, but this is the cost since we decided to go with the waste management plan. It's $7,250. So I believe the initial plan that we had was $20,000 for them to do that one, and the 7,000 plus is for the revisions of the project. So these were with the end caps, with the plants, and then the stamped concrete, so the new plan. So we would need a approval to pay for this design.
Okay, what was the dollar amount again?
$7,250.
So that's a change order pricing or what?
That's how much it would cost for them to revise the scope of work that we wanted for the medians. So when you make up a plan for any project, you have to have the contractor has to have, the engineering firm has, whoever's doing it, they have to have everything laid out, how much concrete it is, how deep is this, and it's a very technical form, or it's a very technical piece of information that they have to have, and they have like this much concrete, this much soil, this is the area of it, and things like that. So because we changed the project, we can't just go in and say like, we just want you to put flowers at the ends. Well, you have to go in and do more measurements and change it, because when we present it to go out to bid, it has to have all of those details in it. So they had to basically go in and rework it, and this is how much it's going to cost to rework it.
Well, that was the scope of work. So
this is just for the plan.
Right, but that's in the scope of work.
Right, yeah. So it's like, I don't know if you can look at it on your computer, but it's like medians 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then they have the other ones that are 6, 2, 6, 3, 7 based on the phone call. So this was like the picture that Marty Nuss showed everybody. And then it says, add a breakdown of the anchor post sign detail and notes, add line work for curb replacement along Natural Bridge median, update attachment A for stamped concrete curb, identify stamped concrete color, prepare revised bid documents, prepare revised specifications, submit to review and approval, establish a list of prospective contractors, obtain competitive bids, confirm responsiveness of bids, prepare a letter of recommendation for successful bids, coordinate and prepare city contractor agreement. So when we paid them the first time, it was they did all of that, and then we had the contractor, but then we backed out of it. So since we revised it, we're basically going through it again, and it's going to cost us $7,250.
If you want the flowers.
Yes.
And the state is gonna require that for approval, because it's on a state road.
And it's 68, it says at the bottom, the estimated time of work to complete this, the scope of work is 68 hours.
You say the state's gonna require it, Marty? You say the state is gonna require that?
Feds will, yes.
The feds?
Okay, so I need a motion.
So moved.
Can I get a second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Number 3, I think this is the next page. Fountain repair is a little bit more. Marty, can you tell us what the valves do?
I'm gonna let Marty, because he witnessed the problem.
That's the Marty I was talking about.
Okay.
That's all have to be more.
The pumps that we already approved to replace, they came out to replace the pumps. And when they got those in order to start the fountain, it didn't automatically work. So basically what they had to do is they had to go down the chain to see what the next thing was that was broke. And so they found a couple of valves that were broke that are now that price that you see for them to be able to place it to make the fountain work. The reason they didn't know those valves were broke is because with the pumps not running and being broke, they couldn't tell what was and wasn't working. So it was something they found out after they got the process going. So when we approve that, they're coming out next week, if we approve this, to continue the process and get the fountain up and running. In theory, it's the last thing before it's actually operating.
So there's no warranty on the valves, right? Just the pump?
I don't know, I would think there'd be some warranty on the labor to make sure that they're operating, but no, it wouldn't be a 2 or 3 year type process.
So this is $1,430.
That's a question. So I think there's been a problem with the fountain. It was the pump, so it's gonna operate this year. Do we have to do it again next year?
Shouldn't have to replace the pumps. The reason that the pumps failed is because there's a water pump down in the hole where the pumps are at.
Okay.
Somehow it got tampered with, and therefore it didn't work, and so that pit filled with water, which shorted out the pumps.
Okay.
Okay, so that process has been remedied. We put a lock on the cabinet. Now, let's be clear, locks are for honest people. But with it being shut down by them this fall, they should have the opportunity to see everything that's there, should be shut down properly, and shouldn't be an issue for next year.
Okay. Thank you.
Are they gonna show your crew how to
Yeah.
winterize
Yeah.
and all?
Well, they're
They're
gonna do
gonna
the
do
shutdown and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, they do the
They're gonna be showing Will how to do the regular maintenance on it, because on a week or 2 or 3 basis, depending on how long it's been operating, they'll have to clean the filters.
I got you.
So,
Okay.
yes, we'll be doing that work.
I got you. Thank you.
So how many valves? Just one valve?
Two. It's on the second page. And then it has the labor cost on there also.
So okay.
What was the initial cost of the pumps?
The pump was like
Like
7, was this
7,000.
pump
Two pumps.
7,000? 7,000
Yes.
total?
Okay.
Yeah.
Big pumps.
Right, so we can't have the fountain on until the valves basically are repaired. So I need a motion to get the work done.
Guys,
We
I want, and
looking at it for a timeline.
Next week.
Next week?
Yeah.
Okay, so by the beginning of August.
Roughly, yes.
Okay, thank you.
July is Wednesday, right?
Right.
So, yeah.
can I say one thing?
No.
Guys,
Yeah, go ahead.
guys, pumps are gonna go out. Anything dealing with water pumps, valves, water lines, they're gonna break on a year-to-year basis or every other year. So it's something that we're looking at on a regular basis, getting this thing fixed or either winterized or looked at. Something's gonna break every year. It's water. And if you don't drain it properly, the lines freeze up, they crack. So just keep that in consideration. This is a year-to-year thing that's gonna happen. It's not no maintenance free.
That's what Marty said. They were going to train Will to keep the maintenance up on it.
Yeah, but anything dealing with water pumps and water lines and valves and stuff, they are not maintenance free. Believe me. I've dealt with them for a long time. They are not maintenance free.
When was the last time we put pumps on the fountain?
The year before last, I think it was. I think this is, when did Dennis? I think it was the year before last. I don't think we did it last year, but I think we did it the year before that.
Yeah, it was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So every other year?
Well, and you may not have to do it, the reason this happened is there's some kind of vandalism that happened there, so if
Yeah.
we can keep that thing locked and keep people out of there, it may not be every two, you might get 3 or 4 out of those.
Right.
We just won't know until
But
it happens.
if memory serves correctly, when we did it like 2 years ago,
Mommy.
a pump wasn't taken out and it expanded and blah, and burst and stuff. And then we replaced it, but somebody vandalized it this time. So that
Can
one.
Can we get a cage on there with a lock or something to
We have a lock on it.
prevent?
We have a lock on it now, but the first time wasn't because somebody vandalized it. It's because it actually went out. Yeah, and it wasn't winterized. It wasn't winterized properly. So
Gotcha.
Yeah. I know it's a lock on it now. My question was, can we put like a steel metal cage on there with the lock?
It's got a cage on it. The cage is underground with a locking top. It's in a metal cage.
Okay.
I'm just curious how this might vandalize it.
it didn't have a lock.
There wasn't a lock.
There wasn't a lock.
There was no lock on there at all?
No. Either there was a lock and somebody took it off, or it didn't have a lock.
Or they forgot to put it back on.
Or they could have, forgot to put the lock back on. Either way,
We need your Councilwoman Victoria said we need your face, Councilman Evans. We don't have a face.
Here I am.
Okay,
I know
thank
what
you.
you look like. Thank you.
You know what I look like. Marty, I have a question for you. As far as I know, you've been down in there and you looked at everything. What type of piping is in there? What did they use? Did they use copper, or did they use urethane, or
It's PVC.
what did they use?
PVC?
Okay, PVC.
Any more questions? Sorry.
No, that's it.
I'm going too fast. Let's see. Where am I? Approval of, a motion to approve fountain repair order change.
You have the first.
Who was
So,
who was second? Oh, you said, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Ayes have it. Number 4, and this is imperative that we get this done today, approval of the reallocation of 2023 CBDG funds for street reconstruction. If you look at the end of your packet, there is a, is it mine? Oh, is it attached?
You can already read it.
Oh. There,
read
at
the whole
the,
thing.
no, that's not it.
It's 2000.
It's right here.
2003.
Nuh-uh, it's that list that's colored. Yeah, that. This is the
Oh,
yeah, this is the street rating, list that we did in 2024. And the lower the number, the worse the street. And the street that we want to allocate this money for is. It was for 2023. Wait, you might need this. I'm sorry.
and you said the lower the number,
The worse the street.
Yeah, the lower the
Yeah,
number, the
10
worse.
10 is perfect.
Where is Sam brought me to now?
Oh, okay. Rating.
Oh,
I'm
number
sorry.
35.
I was looking at the
Yes,
top.
number 35.
Number 35.
The deadline to make your deadline for reallocating these funds, I have to have the application tomorrow. I'll hand carry it down there. If you don't approve the application, it will not be reallocated.
So either you get it done today or
You
lose it.
kicked it down the can, kick the can down the road as far as you possibly can go.
So, and I know that there was discussion about having another discussion, so I'm going to yield the floor to, Councilwoman Valle.
no, that's all I wanted, is that the language needed to reflect what was actually being done, and you've done that. Thank you. So I move that we adopt it, that we sign it.
Any other questions
Does-
about the?
Yes. Does-
Yeah.
What's that motion?
Well, I'm
Does
questions
this have anything to do with, this monies have anything to do with the possible repairs of the water company coming through?
Yes.
So can I ask a question? So these are the streets that's gonna get done?
These streets that are listed here are the streets that will be done with community development funds / city funds.
Okay.
What's the list of the streets? I didn't get that.
You don't have one? Here,
Yeah, I
you
don't-
have this
No,
one?
no, that.
I don't know, but I have 3 of that.
I have this, but which,
It's hard.
How did I get this one?
You're special. Oh, and that's mine.
Oh, I took your paper?
Wait, this one mine too. Where's yours?
That's mine.
No, I got this packet from up there. Two things.
where?
I did not hand out the packet that, with the ratings. I had no idea they were distributed. I should have got a copy of it.
I was like, wait, I thought I had
You
one
do
too.
that?
She asked me to include it. It should be at the back of your.
Oh, I asked
If you have
Kiana to print this.
I do not
But then
have
this
it.
one, no, this one,
I don't have
Marty
that one.
Yeah, I don't
handed
have
it.
that.
No, Marty
Yeah, I
handed
don't
this to me and I gave it to Karen. He handed this to me too. He handed both of
So
these
that's
to
the
me.
list of the streets that are gonna get done?
No, this is the assessment that we had done in 2024.
Okay.
And I was just refreshing everybody's memory about the ratings and everything about the streets. That's
So
all.
lower the number, the worse the street.
The lower the number, the worse the street, yeah.
Okay,
and
can
what's the
I
list
ask
of
a question? When is it gonna be done? Is it gonna be done before it gets cold this year? Or do we have to wait until Missouri American water goes through?
Some of these streets will be done with a little bit of luck before winter sets in.
Okay,
So Blandford, Bermuda Court, Dartmoor, Harchester, Sanborn, and San Andrews. Those are the streets that get done?
all of those just had the water main replaced, with the exception of St. Andrews. So those,
our water mains were replaced 3 years ago.
these streets are a serious wreck at this point. They're still tearing up street after the main pipe was put in
And the water company is paying some of the cost to get these repaired.
Good.
because of that.
Okay.
You've been out there drawing, so, okay. What
You
are we
know,
gonna do?
you got a water company that came in and tore up the streets. Marty and I and the designer, Weiss Design, the engineer, sat down with the water company, told them what we wanted. They came back with something we didn't agree with. Marty and the engineer went back to Dave with the water company and came up to an agreement of what we really wanted, and they agreed to do it. So while these roads are tore up, the cost to redo these roads will probably be, and Marty, you can correct me, will probably be half of what we normally would have to pay to do the roads. And we'd be foolish not to take advantage of that opportunity.
Yes.
Perfect.
So we got to make,
Wait, do we have can I get a motion to approve the reallocation
I make a
of
motion.
2023
Oh.
CBDG funds for street
make a motion.
reconstruction? Sorry.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Discussion of bond issue for street restoration. So, we have Marty Nuss, who's gonna give us we're going through budget talks right now, and he's gonna talk to us about our streets. We've heard streets are bad, and, this is one way that we can address all of our streets at the same time. This is just a conversation right now, and I think it's gonna be one of a lot of conversations that we're gonna have about, a bond issue, and if that's the way that we wanna go to get all of our streets done at once. We do have the TDD, that's gonna be on the ballot. That's gonna, when is that? November?
In August.
August. The only problem with that is, this is just the problem that I see. People don't really come out for August elections. I just said November clearly. So, even though I got the sample ballot, but people really don't come out, so, and that's with 17 other municipalities. We're on that list with the TDD, and I think the estimated, influx that we would get is like $244,000. Is not really planned out right now, like how we're gonna get it or when we're gonna get it, and everything. And that's really gonna be a drop in the bucket when we did this street assessment about, what streets we can do and everything. And so when we drive around and we talk to people, everybody wants their street done now. And if we take the step to do it all at once, I think we'll be in a better position overall to like handle other things and free up money in other places, and everything. But Marty, I'm gonna let Marty talk about it. And Marty has experience with it. That Marty, not you.
I'm gonna talk before that, Marty.
Oh, you are? Okay. Corcoran and then us.
Marty wasn't here Marty Nuss wasn't here very long when he came to me and said, these roads are a mess. And he and I kicked it around, and I have done bond issues before, and so I've used a bond attorney, called him up, I gave him a number that I thought the city could afford, and he said, you could do probably a $6 million off the cuff now, a bond issue for roads with a no tax increase. And Marty said we could probably get 90% of our roads done with that. And as you said, Alonda, the two complaints I hear all the time, especially at the table from the council and from the public when they're here, deals with code enforcement and roads. And so this is a possible way to do it. Obviously, for those of you who've never done a bond issue, the key is if you do a bond issue during a general election, the amount of majority you need is 4/7 at a general election. If you do it at other than a general election, the majority that you need is 2/3. So the first election that you could attempt to do a bond issue would be April of 2026. And that is a general election. And there's plenty of time, if the council decides they want to do something like that, to get it done between now and then. And that's just the large parameter. Marty can do a much better job of the details of what needs to be done.
So that's the general rule of that. So the trick to this rating system that you have here is that this was done in '24. Clearly costs change, especially if we're not doing it until '26. So we will, that's why the variable on what this is gonna cost is just something that we don't know. Until it gets voted on and approved, hopefully, that's when we're gonna find out, because the engineers are gonna do their work, and that's when we're gonna find out how much it's gonna cost. So just for fun, perfect world, everybody agrees this should happen, it passes the vote, we send it to the engineers, we decide that we can afford it, all that kind of stuff. This work would be done in the fall of '26, and then the other part would be done in the spring of '27. So we'd have our money spent, per se, in about a year or so, and then it's a 20-year bond, which, based on payments and stuff, we will know once we figure out what the roads are costing. Based on this estimate here, this comes up to about 4.3 million, give or take. Now, we're clearly gonna do a couple of $100,000 worth of roads this fall with different money, which is fine. Cause we're gonna need every bit of that come 2026. So, the other thing that is that normally you wouldn't do all the roads in your city in 1 year. Because 20 years from now, when they all need to be redone at the same time, that's usually a problem for that process then. The only issue with that is we do not have the ability now to do $500,000 worth of roads for the next 12 years. That money doesn't come in on a yearly basis in order to just be used for roads. On top of the fact that the roads are so bad, the average rating is 4.2, okay? The roads are so bad that some of those roads not being done for 6, 8, 10 years, they would be gravel by the time we got to them. So, because of the condition of the roads currently, and I'm gonna use this analogy, and I said it to other people before, I've been in other cities where their average road ratings are 6.8 and they're screaming because how bad they are. So 4.2 is bad. The problem is you don't have 5 years to get to some of these roads and have them be drivable. The benefit we have is that these are all residential roads. We don't have a Florissant or Natural Bridge or Bermuda that we have to do that's got truck traffic, high volumes, things like that. So, if these roads are maintained properly by a properly trained public works department, they will reasonably last 20 years. So, that's an advantage. That means that your money will be spent and they will, in theory, last the life cycle. The wild cards, storms, colder weather where you actually have frost for a week or two in the ground, where it comes up through the roads, that'll wreak havoc with roads like these. But that's we'd like to think, a once every 10 or 15 year kind of winter, but the way things are going, who knows? What I do know is that when the roads are done, when it comes to plowing, and what you're gonna end up with after a plowed and salted road will be night and day compared to what they are now. The loose gravel that rolls into the gutters, that stops storm drains, things like that, that will all be things that won't happen anymore. So, the other thing that happens is that when we talk about economic development and what the city does, when your roads look better, those people, and it worked out, this is a perfect example of that. All the trees on Natural Bridge that we went and trimmed up in the last couple of weeks, in case anybody's noticed, they're all at the same height now, they're all roughly about the same size. We've actually had 3 more companies, people, whatever it is, go out and take care of their parkways along the road now because stuff started to look like it was supposed to. That means less work that we have to do because we're doing the basic maintenance. That's what the roads are gonna do. People are gonna take care of their yards better, people are gonna clean up better, and when somebody goes out and does a burnout on the road, somebody's gonna come out and say, you're tearing up my road. So, these are all the advantages of having proper maintenance done, on top of the fact that at some point, home values are gonna go up. It's gonna affect everything that happens, and when the conversation is not, when is my road gonna get fixed? And if it's code enforcement and economic development and whatever that process is, that's because of this process. So, that's how important it is. Every road, based on our rough numbers, will be done. So regardless of the rating number, they will be going up. And they start at 10s, and generally speaking, you go down a grade or 2 in 2 or 3 years. So you will have 10s unless somebody rips something up. Sewer line cuts, things like that, we want to discourage that. So we're going to be talking to all the utility companies about their plans for Normandy for the next 3 or 4 years, because we want to know if they're coming in and tearing something up before we do any given road. But you're going to be in pretty good shape for quite a few years, and then again, it's proper maintenance and hoping nothing bad that we couldn't possibly foresee happens. So, we are open for questions. I would suggest that everybody think about it. When you go home, look at the road you drive on, all of that kind of stuff, and think about what you would think, or what you're going to have to tell your ward members on why you think this is a good process and what it's going to be for them. We want to talk about the...
Keep in mind though, it's a no tax increase. We're not asking for tax money to do this.
Marty, one of the things that I know is going to be happening is that the country club is slated for Project Clear to start happening, and St. Mary's Lane is going to be a mess. And it's not great right now. And all those streets behind there, those are going to be a problem. So you may want to talk to both Glen Echo Country Club and MSD about that one.
Yeah, that's fine, and MSD is one of the places we'll be talking to find out what they got going on.
Okay, great.
So the last municipality that I know that had a bond issue, it was in the paper before the election. It was Glendale.
Glendale, yeah.
Yeah, and they asked for 18 million. And the money only will go to the street, so, like,
They
you're
can't
thinking, like,
get-
you can't, we're not gonna, like, buy new, like, get new police officers or do things like that, or whatever. It would strictly be for the streets. So it wouldn't be like, oh, they're trying to get one over, and that's something that everybody can see, right? And then the other thing, like, we would have educational materials, like, similar to when we did our merger, about, like, what does that mean for, like, you and your taxes? Because how many times have you walked around, y'all raising our taxes, and I'm like, no, we did not. So those are things that we want to think about, like how people are going to anticipate those things, and it's really about educating people.
So you mentioned Glendale asked for 18 million. And Marty mentioned he talked to a bond issuing lawyer who mentioned we can get 90% for 6 million. So what are we is that like, are we responsible for choosing the amount? And what do we think?
Well, the projects are responsible for choosing
Yeah.
the amounts, that's why we won't
The
know the
engineer-
amount.
We would be like, we want $100 million. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right, so when we,
But I don't know how-
after they approve it, and we get the actual engineering,
That's
that's
all.
the only time we'll know the actual dollar amount.
Gotcha.
But our best guesses, based on what's been happened before, things like that, we think we're gonna be in the ballpark.
And that just goes by like how many miles of streets do you have? Like what are you trying to do? Yeah.
Part of the big difference, for example, let's take Glendale.
Because that's South County, Glendale.
Well, they got more mileage than we have.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, how many they have a lot. It's much bigger than us.
Yeah.
That's Glendale is is it near
Between
Brentwood?
Kirkwood and Webster.
Brentwood and yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Glendale borders Webster Groves and Kirkwood.
Kirkwood,
Okay.
okay, yeah. So it's a
The-
lot bigger than us.
The other advantage to having all residential streets is that what it costs to do Natural Bridge or Florissant
We won't have
is
to.
3 times what it would cost to do a residential street. So because we don't have any of those, we don't have the big ticket roads, that would affect that price dramatically.
And I believe their bond issue passed. I believe.
It did.
Yeah.
Speaking of roads, is it possible, we had a yellow line going down Bishop Johnson Lane?
We're aware of that.
It was there. but
So
now it's-
here's what it, when it comes to striping, if we don't have the ability to do it properly, let me put it that way. I could go out with a roller and put a yellow line down the street. But normally what happens is you talk to either the county or MoDOT, and they're gonna come out, when they're out with their striper, we're gonna pay them to put that line down there, but they're gonna come down and do it properly, and it's gonna look like it's supposed to, and we're gonna pay them, I'm sure, a few $100 if it's the only road we're striping. And the problem with doing striping is that in theory, it forces somebody to that side of the road, when normally, right now, where that line's faded or gone, you know, when there's no other cars, they're going down the center of that road. Because of the way it pitches and the way it curves and stuff, that's a safer drive in that respect. And yes, most people know that if there's somebody's coming, you just move over and you go around it. So I guess the question would be, you should really question whether we want the yellow line or not before it happens.
And I think the other question with that too is, if indeed we're going the bond issue route, we're gonna pave right over that yellow line we just paid to put down.
So the yellow line was there and it faded.
Well, you can see the yellow line, I agree with him. You gotta look hard to see it, but you can tell there was a yellow line there.
Oh, okay.
I think even
Once
if
upon a time.
yeah, I think even if you put the yellow line there, if people do veer to the middle of the road, they're gonna veer back the other way or whatever. But then
I mean, sometimes when you come over that hill, when you come from Bermuda,
Right.
and you come up that hill, you can't see over that hill, right?
Right.
So a lot of people drive in the middle, like you said.
Yep.
And then if somebody's coming the other direction,
Right.
it's almost like a head-on right there at that hill.
Yeah.
So that's why that line kind of is
so
important to have.
would you recommend that we do have MoDOT come out and put the yellow line?
Well, I don't know that MoDOT would do it on that road, it would probably be the county. I understand that there's an issue with that, I don't know why we don't interact with the county very well, but whatever that process is, and it just needs to get better. Because they're not mowing the side of Bermuda either, and it's like 4 feet tall.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna go out there pretty soon and cut that darn thing.
What is the speed limit on that street? Is it like 15?
With Bishop.
Yeah, Bishop. is
That
saying-
fast?
I think
20. I think
it's
it's
20.
Oh, 20.
it's
I
20.
think it's 20.
Okay.
I thought it was.
But they don't do 20.
Yeah, no,
yeah.
nobody does 20 out there.
Yeah, I think
I thought it was
we're
slower
like
than that.
15, so they're gonna.
That's what the
I thought
sign
it was
says.
slower than that.
Yeah. they're gonna do 35 and
Oh, yeah, they're
50.
doubling that.
Especially coming off the highway,
Yeah.
they coming up that hill.
So do you have the number for the county to contact the person for the?
I will.
Yeah. Okay. So let's get a
I
call.
got it.
You got. Let's get a call in for the strike. Wait. Who's gonna call?
Ghostbusters.
Yeah. Which Marty?
I'll call.
Okay.
I'll give him the number.
Yep, that's no problem.
He can talk their language. What percent of beads he wants in that yellow paint.
Discussion of fiscal year audit. I'm going to give Councilwoman Cleveland the floor. You sent the email. Don't look at me. I'm looking at the paper. I can tell. I can feel it. So,
I sent an email saying, asking if someone can give us an overview on how to read this audit. Because last year I thought it took too long for us to, some people just didn't get it. If we can kind of go, we got new council people here. A lot of people don't know about audits. I know regular audits from the hospital audits, but the county or just the government is different. But we need to look at how to read this audit, because we got to get it right this time and not wait until, we did it late last year. We approved it late and things didn't get paid. So I think it's got to be done by what,
well, the audit is done, but you mean she means
the budget. I'm sorry, the budget,
Yeah.
not the audit, the budget.
September 30th.
Yeah, September 30th.
Okay.
So Marty is going to give us the other Marty. Yeah, an overview.
I'm not sure we're gonna do it. Let's talk for just a second. I knew that Councilperson Shivers was gonna be on Zoom, so I sent her this audit information that each of you got in front of you. I did not know that Councilman VA, pardon me, and that Tony was gonna be on Zoom, so they do not have this information and have nothing to follow along.
They have it on their computers because I sent the audit last month with the.
I can't open a document that big because I have run out of disk space on my main computer.
You
From
can't open the
opening
one
up
that
things like that.
You can't open the one that I sent last month with the audit attached?
So,
I haven't used that one. As I said, I have not been able to download that document. I didn't know that I was going to twist my ankle and wouldn't be able to walk.
I'm just asking if you can so you can't open that one. So should I send it again somewhere? Can I send it? So I guess we just have to get you a paper copy.
I have it because you sent it through Outlook. It's a matter of my opening up. I don't have a working printer at this time. So I'm in the same boat as other people, and I can follow along with the conversation, I can read. So I will just listen to what's going on.
you know,
So I have to go get it from my computer.
Can I be the host and then put it up?
Yeah, I can do that too.
Go ahead, Marty.
let me do this. If you want me to go through it tonight, I'll be glad to do it. On the other hand, I'll be glad to meet with two of you at a time, so there's no question we don't have a quorum, and go over this. And if you want more detail, we can get more in-depth than what I was gonna say tonight. I'm more than willing to do that on a small group basis, so that each of you get your questions answered. If you don't wanna do it that way, then that's fine with me.
I'll meet with you.
Yeah,
I
same
like a
here.
smaller version.
You like the smaller version? Okay.
too.
Yes.
So if you guys can meet, I would say like meet with your ward person. Like that
Right.
would be the best. Like
Yes.
Karen and you and Vicky and
Yes.
Oh, okay.
you and Vicky and Marty, and then Karen and
Yes.
Steve and Marty.
That's perfect.
Yeah, like
that's
meet with your ward person
Yeah.
with Marty to have a conversation. Does that sound good?
Yes.
Fine with me.
Yes.
You still the host though. You didn't give it to me.
No, I'm not
Okay.
giving you host, but you can share.
No, it's fine. I mean, if we're gonna do it that way, then I don't have to be
I
the
like
host.
it better.
My leg killing me today.
Oh, can I get a motion to move into closed session for a personnel issue?
Make a motion.
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Councilman Washington,
Yes.
Councilman Roberts,
Yes.
Councilman Sachsenheimer,
Yes.
Councilwoman Cleveland,
Yes.
Councilwoman Baye,
Yes.
Councilwoman Shivers,
Yeah.
Councilman Evans,
Yes.
Councilwoman Bore.
Yes.
Do you want them to stay on this one or? you
Yeah,
got
stay
something
and
else?
then just
Don't hang up.